Let me resume recording. I forgot to turn it back on. Okay, so most of the time is going to be spent on showing how to go into command and how to create an opportunity, and then how to create a commission, since we all would like to get paid. Except I need to go sell a house to get paid. So
we're working on that.
So I'm going to go into and log into my MLS. I've got the windows open and it's terribly distracting. People are actually outside. So does everyone see this?
Krista does.
Okay, I'm assuming everyone sees this. I had to get rid of the screen that shows everybody on here because it interferes with showing you the whole screen. So this is your typical MLS sheet that everybody uses every single day. So there are two ways to get to Instanet. One, I'm going to go in and just look at a job, a new listing. And let's say on this new listing, I would like to write a contract. There's not one of ours, so we'll just pick one. So one way to get to Instanet is right here, if you all can see my pointer, and you can start a transaction from there. It will then automatically pull all of the data, including yours, all of the data over from the MLS into Instanet and start a job. But before we do that, I would like to go in directly into Instanet, which you can also get to from right here. So I would like to go into Instanet first and just familiarize you with what this is all about. I don't know how many of you are actually using it or have ever used it, but it's a fairly simple system to use. When you hit these three green buttons, you have all of the management cues and icons over here. Then depending on how you've arranged yours, I've arranged mine to see my transactions right away. But before you get into any of that, do you see, everyone see where the three gears are? I don't have y'all muted, do I?
Yes, I see the three gears.
Okay, so.
Yes, I see them.
Okay, so click on the three
I see
gears.
them.
Click on the three gears. And the first thing we want to do, you'll see this list. Everyone, hopefully I can see this list. And I want you to go down.
Hey, Dan, are
Hello?
we able to access this from the RVAR zip forms?
No, this is not for RVAR, but we will do one on RVAR as well. They're a little bit different.
Oh, okay. Okay,
But,
gotcha.
when you get your PDF file, whether you go through RVAR or you go through Instanet, it's still going to be a PDF. And in computer language and programming language, when you make a dump, like we're going to into Dropbox, into DocuSign in the room, it doesn't care as long as it's a PDF, it'll take it. It could care less where it comes from. So for those of you that have LAR, you can go into right here where I'm pointing into transaction templates and click on it. Now, I have two, a listing and a purchase. So right here in the right-hand side, you can hit add. and we can add another one. So there are other things that you might want one for. You might want a listing template for land purchase because it uses a different purchase offer. You might want a different one for the lake than you want for here if you're going to do stuff up at the lake, because the lake has different forms that need to be included. Does that make sense? It will make sense as soon as we get through here. So you would add or create a template right here, and you're going to name it. Let's name this class template. Okay? And this is going to be a purchase one because the purchase one is the most complex.
Dan, can you go back and show us the add button again? I missed it.
Yeah, it's right here. You see my pointer?
I'm trying to see the pointer, I'm maximizing. Okay. Where, can you show it again where it was? Okay, I see it now. Thanks.
Okay. All right. So then you go down here to residential sale. Okay. First you put a name in there. I'll just put class purchase template. All right. And then we'll put residential sale and then save it. That's all we're going to do from this window. And this should be the screen you should see once you finish. Now, you can do a lot of very exotic things in Instanet. You can set up your own checklist. So if there's certain things that you like to have checked during the procedure, you can set this checklist up inside Instanet and it will remind you that, hey, have you done this? But what we're going to be concerned about, the most simplistic of all templates, is a purchase template. So right here under forms, if you can see where I'm pointing, we'll click this plus and we'll add forms. And the beauty of this system is, and it will pick them from Lynchburg Association. Everybody see that? I hope.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Good.
Yes.
All right. So I'm gonna
Yes.
pick this, and then up are gonna pop all the forms in the Lynchburg Association documents. So addendum repairs to purchase, that would be one you would use, right? Addendum standard clause. Addendum subject to sale. Addendum to purchase. Amendment of a purchase agreement. Oftentimes you need an amendment after it becomes ratified. Brokerage referral agreements, you can put that in there. I don't have mine. You can always add these on the fly as well. I always put a cover sheet in mine. And here you would need, in case you work with another Keller Williams agent, you would need disclosure of designated agency, an exclusive right to represent, don't need any of that. You don't need the fine policy because you're all good agents and you won't get fined.
Notice of quarantine.
Personal property sale agreement, I recommend that you use that. I'm sorry?
Did you just click exclusive right to represent 211 or 210?
To the first one,
211?
211.
Okay, thanks.
And then, of course, the purchaser agreement. And so once you've clicked all of those, and it'll retain the green click, all you do is add it. And now it's going to add 10 documents in your forms are in your template. So everyone knows, the first thing that occurs when you land a new prospect or suspect or soon to be client, that you do the exclusive right to represent. So that should be up here right after the cover sheet. And then before any of the rest of these addendums become worthy of anything, you need a purchase agreement, right? And then I always put my standard clause addendum next. And I put personal property sales agreement after that. And then I put addendum to sales. And the rest of them can just stay here as forms that you may use in the future. So once you put them in this particular order, whenever you go to a listing, that will always populate in that same order, so that it's a kind of a guide for you to make sure that you've had all the proper forms. You don't ever have to worry about, oh, what did I miss? What did I not get? What am I short? And it'll save you a lot of heartburn when it goes to compliance. They won't be saying, hey, where's the form? So, but we can go one step further. I'm going to go up here right quick and just update. You see where I went up? I just slid it up and update, just so if we lose power, I won't lose my forms. So now we can actually go into the transaction template, and we can actually pre-fill in a lot of the information that never changes. So that way, when you do go to purchase and make a purchase offer off the MLS, all of that information is already in there, and it just saves you a lot of, well, first of all, it makes them consistent, your purchase offer. Secondly, there's less mistakes. And third, you don't have to put in so much and try to remember so much when you're under the stress of doing an offer. I hope that makes sense. So I'm going to go into, you don't need to do anything to cover sheet. I'm going to go into the exclusive right to represent. Now, everyone has, I went over this with Teresa yesterday. Everyone has their own likes and ways of doing things. I'm going to show you the way I do it, and you can make changes to anything you don't want to do that way. So the first thing I always do is I always fill in the name, Keller Williams. Okay. And when you see this one, the second one, it's address, city, state, zip code, and phone number. So I'm going to start by saying 1179 A, Vista Park. Then I'm going to hit my tab, and I'm going to go to Forest. Then tab again, I'm going to go to VA. Tab again, 24551. Tab again, I'm going to put the broker's phone number, 434-534-9113. Okay? So that's pretty straightforward. Here, I typically put, until I know what I'm going to do, I just put all residential properties. You can do it whatever the way you want. So going down to number 5, I use broker shall be paid. I don't select the percentage because it's going to be based on the MLS and the listing firm. But I do click or, and right here I put 3% if it's for sale by owner. That way, if you start working with, she starts working, or he starts working, or they start working with a for sale by owner, you've let them know up front, hey, you want to be paid. So I put that in there. And then down here, I put my name. So now this form is all filled out, and Instanet will fill in everything else every time you do the job. So up here at the folder on the left, center left, you come down to where it shows the little disc. You see the little disc, and you have to go to the right to save it. Okay? And then file again and hit the X to exit. So it's really interesting once you see this, once you see this actually in action, and I'll show it to you. And I know this is going to be a lot to take in, but don't worry about it. If you have questions or problems, I will either log on and take care of it for you, or I'll help you. So we're going to go to the purchase agreement next, right here. And so we're always, on the purchase, we're always the selling broker, right? And yes, we do represent them. All of this information will be filled in by the listing when you go to it. Right here, I put NA. Right here, and I put a little line out there just to make sure they don't think it's a mistake, because I use the addendum form, because not that putting in the appliances would hurt it, it won't, but most of the mortgage companies are getting very anal about it. So I just put it nothing, and then I put the other form. So always you're going to have a, well, I always include a standard clause addendum and other, which is RESPA McLean Purchaser's Choice Settlement. Now we're going to start working with Instanet right now to get these uploaded so that they'll be in our documents. But right now we have to download them each time, but that won't be hard to do. None of this is going to be applicable until you actually do the purchase, except 9 times out of 10, it's going to be a 30-year with 0 points. I mean, you rarely do one. And then if you do, all you have to do is change it. So we keep going. We don't know what this would be until we get the job. But most every time it's going to be appraisal if it's got a loan against it. And I always go under section 6, I always go to the settlement, closes, and I'll look down below. That's all that's saying. We always know it's going to be held by Keller Williams Realty. It's a check, and the way Carol likes it done is we'll pay, and you can put 10 days. So that's always going to be the default, because that's what our broker wants to see. So they want the purchaser to come in with the check prior to 10 days. So that would be the first tickler thing you would set up. I choose Patel and Dalrymple, so you can fill in the one you like. And of course, it's still up to the client. but you can always change it on the fly. All of these options that I'm doing are changeable when you get in there. It's just trying to make it simple for you and quick. Number 9, occupancy. I always put yes. Residential, I always put is and is attached. Now, obviously that doesn't come into play on a brand new home, but it's easy just to check no. We don't know whether it's going to be a property association, but 9 times out of 10, it's not going to be a condo. Again, you can change it if that changes. I'm always looking to do an inspection. Come on. I always say 14 to 15 days, whatever you like there. We're going down. I always check is. This is one I fought for as the MLS chairman to get into the our contract so that it makes it a lot easier because it's a part of the contract, not an addition to. So
Dan, go back to the home inspection part. I didn't see what you checked there on your home inspection.
okay, I just said does want it
Okay.
and 14 days.
Okay.
You can
Got
do 15 days. You see 15 quite commonly. I've always checked this because if that inspection report comes back really, really, really bad, especially on older homes, then you can just get out without any further ado. I always say Alexa, the home warranty, I always say Alexa and ask the seller to pay. They always complain. Most of them don't want to do it, but I ask for it anyway.
Hey, Dan, what price do you put down for that? Was it like $500-600?
I put 600. That's my standard, but you know, anybody can do it, whatever you want, because they're all going to be $595 or more. You know, most of the time they're going to raise a fit, but it gives you the upper hand when you're in negotiations. Say, well, I can give that up, but I can't give the rest of these up. You know what I mean? And all along, you really didn't care. So in related business, you want to check selling, and you want to hit and put RESPA, McLean, Purchaser's Choice, etc. Additional terms, again,
Okay,
I'm sorry?
stay there just 1 second.
Sure.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. So in 19, I put selling and then McLean RESPA. And then in 20, I usually just put NA. And then if there is some additional, then you just override it. Going down, I don't put anything here because it's just, you don't know, under well, septic, and municipal systems. I always put all structures on property. A lot of agents don't like it when they see that, but oh well. And I put $1,000 here because that's what it's given down below anyway. Unless I see something that's changes that. As you go down, keep going down. We can't, on 25, we can't tell about acceptance, so we don't put that. And then all of this information, including the listing name and company, selling name and company, and all of these names under here will be filled in by Instanet automatically. So you say file, save, file, exit. Then I hit update. Everyone get that so far? Do you need any more explanation? I know I'm going fast, but so there's not much to do on the addendum. Instanet does a good job of filling that in. Personal sales property,
Dan, this is
Yes.
Krista. May I interrupt for just a second?
sure.
So what you're doing here is you're setting up your own templates in your way.
Correct.
So if we are naming this, what should we name it?
In the template,
Yes.
whatever you want to name it.
Okay, so when we do a deal, then we will just pull up our template and it's all pre-filled, and then we change it attached to whatever property that is.
Yeah, and I'm going to show you that.
Okay, great. Thank you.
As soon as we get the forms done, I'll show you exactly how it works.
Okay, thank you.
So in here, there's not much we can change, except we can always say seller represents and warrants the personal property. And I always like $1, which it puts it in there. And then all of this is all filled in. There's nothing else to put in here. Instanet will fill it all in. So I save it again and I exit out. So the nice thing about this is if you have a form, unlike Dotloop where we have sometimes 3 or 4 or 5 different purchase and you're trying to figure out which one to use, in Instanet, anytime a document has been changed, say Mike Lafayette, our attorney, changes one of them because the board wants it changed, anytime that occurs, when you actually go into a purchase contract off of the Instanet, off of MLS, it's going to tell you, hey, by the way, this file you cannot use because it is out of date. And you're always up to date on all of your forms.
Nice.
You don't have to ever touch anything. So I'm not going to fill any of the rest of these in. I'm just going to go update. And then I'm going to go back and look at it. And so now you can see I've added one class purchase template. Okay?
Dan, question. Can you hear me?
Uh-huh.
Okay, good. So I use Dotloop all the time. I use Instanet all the time and just dump it over into Dotloop. But one of the things I can't do is when you click on start a new transaction in the wizard, it doesn't have all of, I always have to go back in and add the new purchase agreement, etc. So how do I upload all of the things I generally use into that automatic one?
Such as?
They never have the new, they don't include in their already added contract forms. They don't have the purchase agreement. They often don't have the exclusive right to represent, to add those. So when you built this template, when you built that template, you started from scratch and then you hit the save with the PDF. Well, save as the
Right. So
whatever, floppy disk. Yeah.
template will always create when you go into the job, it will always create the correct documents.
So when you hit start a new transaction from the listing page, my template is going to upload?
Correct.
Okay.
And I'm going to show you how that works right now. So now we've got a template. Of course, you want one for listings, and you'll pull the most commonly used listings. You'll go through and fill them out just like I did. And so I'm going to go in here, and I'm going to go into one of these new listings, and I've got a client right now that wants to buy I say she wants to buy this forest home. Where is it? Oh, right here. Okay. So I'm going to say she wants to buy this home. So all I do is go right here to Instanet, start a transaction. All right. And now Instanet already knows, it already knows that it's coming from this MLS number. Okay. So I'm going to name this one test class. Okay. And here's the templates. We could use this template. I'm going to use the one I always use. We can use this one, okay, or the one. It's going to pop up, whatever template you've made. You can click on it, and it knows I'm going to get it from the MLS, and it knows that I'm the selling agent. So I'm going to create it. Okay, so now it's pulled information from the listing right out of the MLS. Now, if there's other information like zoning class you want to put in, you can put that in. Everything in here is changeable, each on the fly. But I don't usually change anything. I just move to the next one. It is what it put in out of the MLS. These are all your transaction dates. So if you have a closing date, you can put that closing date. Let's say that's going to close April 24th. You can put that in there. Don't hit save and exit. Hit next. Always hit next. So now it put me and Keller Williams as a selling agent. Now I need to add a buyer, right? So I'm going to create a new transaction, contact, and I know it's a buyer, and the name is John Doe. I'm so original. And his email is, I'll put mine in there just so it doesn't cough at me. And you click this second tab. That's the main tab, and then you click the second tab, and I'm going to put this, my address, okay? And then my phone number. And for some reason, it likes the phone number being in phone rather than cell. I do not know why, but that's the way they programmed it, I guess. You can put it in the other one too, but it likes it in the phone number when you fill out the documents. All right, and all you do is save it. And so the seller, I'm going to click back over here and look at the seller. Y'all see it? Ah. All right. My all my controls are in my way. Okay, so I can now add a seller, and he's the seller. Now you really don't have to add the seller if you don't want to. It's not, and right here you can put the legal name. That way, if it's a company, you can put the legal name. Okay, and then we're going to go to next. And now all of those forms out of our template are now, here's the cover sheet that I like to put down, are all filled out. There's the job buyer's name. There's the construction company. Here's the sales. And if you want to add your purchaser settlement company and settlement attorney for the seller, you can now add that. And the exclusive right to represent, hopefully you did this early, but it fills out John Doe. All you do is put in the dates, from today. I always make mine to the end of the year. That's just me. You can make it for whatever you want. Everything else stays the same. And see, it put John Doe in here. So file, again, save it just like before, and exit. Now in the purchase agreement, it goes ahead and fills in everything. So we'd put today's the date, 26th, and that's the seller. And John Doe's the buyer. And there's the two agents, company brokers. And then here's all the information that's required. Now all we have to do is say that this is, we're going to offer them $329 because we feel really generous. And this subject to sale, I'm sorry, subject to finance. And they're going to do a conventional, which is a 95%. And the loan company told me not to go over 5. And for some reason, my 30 didn't stay in there. I don't know why, but figure it out. So you notice all of the rest of the dots are filled in. Everything is filled in. So our closing date, we would click here and set up our closing date. And we want to close this on the 24th. Well, if I really did email this, somebody would get very happy. And this one, we're just going to say is in a property owners association, but it's not a condominium. We are going to have this. I don't know why this is my form. It didn't keep it. We are going to do an inspection. Oh, I know why, because I'm using mine, not the test. And let's just say this is municipal water and a septic, just for grins. All of that information is in there. All of that information is in there. So now it tells us who's going to sign where. Here's the buyer and here's the seller. And here's all the information for the listing and the selling agent. So we don't need, because it's a brand new house, we don't need a residential document, but you would download that, the same place you always do. So addendum standard clause is here. And again, today's date. And it's not a backup offer. Loan letter does apply. None, no well test, no radon. So I don't need this anymore because that's now in the contract. I got to update mine, as you can see. Okay, and there's the two signers. So that's a standard ordinary contract. That's about as fast as you can go through it. But you can see, because things are already checked off, they make it much less chance of forgetting to click what needs to be clicked. And so you can go to next after that, and one more. Now those are preserved. All those records are preserved. And if I wanted to really send this out for signatures, which you can do here too, I would go signings, add, and this is test, purchase, or class. Save it. Now it's going to ask me to select the participant, which would be me, because that's who we're in charge of. I would add it. Select the documents. Now here's, oh, sorry. I didn't make me a client. Hang on.
Yeah, you have to have a signer.
Yeah. I'm just going to add one. And I'm going to make this in a remote signer. Okay, so now I can go to the documents. And now I can say, well, this one should be done, but I'll put it in exclusive right to represent, purchase agreement, addendum to purchase. No, I don't need that one. I need standard clause addendum. And we'll just stop with that. You know what to do from here. So I didn't fill out the other one. So I'm going to add those in here. And what it's going to do, is it's going to go and actually design those and drop in all the signatures for you.
Dan,
So
what
now-
did you just click to make that happen?
I don't know if it'll let me go backwards.
Never mind.
He hit design.
Okay.
I hit
thanks.
design. So now I'm going to go down, and it's just kind of a double check that you've got all the information that you want. I'm not really checking everything that carefully because I'm just showing you. But here's the purchase agreement. And everything's all checked off all the way through. And then here is the, come on, get down there. Unstable. Why is it? Let me go back. So I didn't do. So then the names would all be filled in and signed. All the signatures would be there. And then when you do that, you go to next. It's telling me I didn't sign it because I didn't go back and redo it all. It's not going to let me. It's very, let me go back.
Hey, Dan, can I add a couple things that I found with this?
Sure.
Okay, so you guys, if you mess up on anything, like if you get to the end and you, for instance, let's say that you had an LLC and you should have put the signature's name, the signer's name at the bottom, and the name's not right, for instance, you go back up to the little house, which will get you back into the transaction. And then you go back into contacts and you can fix it there.
That's what I'm doing.
Also, I always check and make sure when you are doing the wizard, when you do the start the transaction thing, it's really easy. It just brings you through the process. But I always check to make sure that the listing agent entered that information correctly, because they don't always, especially if there's an extra lot that goes with the property, they'll often not put in the tax parcel ID, etc. So it won't populate on that first paragraph, which talks about the property. Very easy to mark up the changes if you're scratching out to make a change. And there was another thing I was going to tell you.
So I'm just going to start this again.
When you do a signing, another way to easily get into a signing is after you finish the form, you can go to the top right and it'll say a button, add signing, and you can start it from there instead of going backwards the way Dan just did it to get back into it.
Now this time I'm going to sign it.
Oh yeah, that's the other thing. All the forms don't auto-populate the signature, so make sure you check through all of your forms before you send it off.
Yeah, the one that doesn't really auto-populate very often is the residential property disclosure, which you would have to add, when you do it. But it's really simple. I'll show you how to do it. What I'm really showing you is just getting you a little bit familiar with this, and then we'll go into more depth. And I'm happy to go into more depth one-on-one with everybody just to make sure. See, it put my signature in there because I sent it to me. Now, because I put a signature in there and everything, and I selected the right person, it'll put all the signatures in.
One other important thing that has changed, and it looks like it just updated a new version, so hopefully they put it back, but when you're signing, when you're initialing a change to a contract, if you you go back and forth on negotiating, it used to be that the initials dated, and now they do not any longer date. So make sure you do have a date so that, the contract, the date of the contract was written, and even the date that it was signed is not the ratification date, of course. It's the when you get all the initials done with all the changes. So make certain that you add a date when you're initialing on changes.
That's
Oh
just,
my gosh, that's a shame that they changed that.
Hopefully they just changed it back because they did something new yesterday.
I hope so.
so
One
now
thing I would like to add, Dan, too, is I have to say I was a huge advocate for .loop for many years. And then when I used this, I found that the thing that I loved the most about this was its efficiency with the templates, but also the fact that you don't have to have two separate emails for people that are
Exactly.
signing that might be married,
correct.
for example. And it's so nice they can both sign separately from one email.
Correct. So once everything's, you see signatures, just go to next. And then if you want to send a customized note and say, test, this is a test, and save it. And if you have more than one person, it will actually, it'll actually give you the chance to put two in there. And then you send the invitation and it tells you, it verifies that it's sent. And then you come over here, and because I'm the agent, and it knows it, I should get something here from them. I do have it here. It should go in and ask me to sign it here pretty quick.
While we're waiting, are you gonna go over how we add initials and how we add the signature to the residential property disclosure?
Yeah, I will. It's
Thank you.
pretty straightforward. Well, let's keep going so we don't cause everybody to wait because we got a lot to get done. There, I think I just heard it. There it is. So now it tells me that to start signing. And that, remember, I'm the buyer. So it tells me to start signing. This is what your client is going to see. And it's neat to know what your client sees because sometimes you got to explain it to them. So I'm just going to select what I see. I'm just going to accept that. And then up here in the right-hand corner, you have a start, big red button. And all you do is click on the signature, click on the signature, click on the signature, and say complete signing. And no, thank you for us. Now it's done. That's all the client needs to do. And then it'll come back to me as the agent, and I can forward it once I double check everything, I can forward it as a PDF to the listing agent.
Dan, do you know if they're able to print that off and look at it to
Yes.
review
Yes,
prior
they can.
to signing?
They certainly can.
Okay.
They can print it off. They can save it as a PDF. They can do pretty much anything you can do.
Okay.
Be sure, you guys, that they know to hit complete signing. Just say so it will advance back to me.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I don't know if I have I have to find it. Hang on, let me find a document. So if you really needed to import assuming that the agent is actually going to put this in, which I find that most agents don't, you go down here to view documents, and we'll look and see if that agent actually put this in the folder. Hey, look at this. So I'm just going to download this one for right now. So trying to get you back to where you would be. So here you are. And so you would go into, because now all your forms are right here, remember? So you would go down to documents, and all of those are in there because we already sent one out, okay? So ordinarily you would not see all these documents. But all you do is add a new document. And I just click the blue inside the blue box and go get the one I just dropped if I can find it. Anybody see it?
Don't you need to get that from your file in on your computer?
No, I should have gone directly to my desktop.
Oh, did you set it up that way?
Yeah, you can set it up where you want it to drop.
Oh.
Oh, why that's not there. Hang on. All right, so let me go back over here and try that again. I don't know why it didn't download. Now I've defaulted mine to the desktop. You can also put a folder. Normally when I'm doing a purchase offer, I put a folder on my desktop with the address. And there it is. Oh, it put it in a zip file, that's why. Now I undid it. So it does not like, here it is. Okay. My darn controls are right in my way, so I can't see the tabs. Okay, so I'll go back in here, and now you add documents. Is you guys' internet been unstable?
Yes.
Yeah, mine is very unstable.
Mine too. Very unstable.
Yeah, and I'm paying for 50 gigs, so that's disgusting. So there, you just connect to it, link it, and drop it in, and it'll tell you that it put it in here. So if we wanted to go back, I'll just do a new signing. So if we wanted to sign this, we could add a new signing and say residential document. I'm just trying to hurry so we don't waste time. And then again, we go through the same thing. It would be this one because, and right now you can go all the way down to the bottom. I hope mine will let me actually see it, and it won't. Come on, guys. I got so much stuff in mine. Click it, add it, and now it's a document, okay? But it knows that it's not signed, you can see. So you go into design, and here it is. And all you do is go to drag and drop and see where it says signature. Click on the signature and hold your shift key down and just pull it over there. That's it. And then do the same thing for a date, and it's done. That's all there is to it.
Does it save automatically, or do you have to hit next?
Well, personally, I do this. I put save changes.
Okay.
Just because I'm paranoid. But then when you go next, it's going to go through the same thing, and it's going to send it out to me. And usually I'll put a note in there, hey, I forgot to give you this document. Can you please sign right away and return? And now it's out. And that's what it shows you. This one's completed because it's got a ribbon, and this one is in process. And the nice thing about it is you can go in here and you can look at all the history of everything that's gone on in this particular offer or in all offers.
So Dan, just to summarize, forms are, because this always confused me. Forms are your templates basically that you filled out.
Correct.
The documents are what you
download
with when you're signing everything.
Yeah, and
what?
Correct. And for right now, you would need to download your those two documents that are Keller Williams documents, because we don't have them in Instanet yesterday. I put in a request to get them, and I'm waiting on their response back. So they'll upload those documents in our documents. So we'll have them there, and you just use them just like you would any of the other forms. You can actually put those forms inside your template. That way it's always there. But
and you're talking about McLean and
yeah.
Okay.
I can't, they changed so dang much. I can't remember which ones they are. I know that's really fast, and it's really confusing to go that fast, but yes. Somebody want to say something?
I think somebody just sneezed.
Oh, okay. Get back in here so I can. Come on. There. All right, now I'm back. Okay, so the next thing that we need to look at is, what do we do with all this junk once we get it into, now what you can do when that's all done and all ratified, and the seller's ratified it and returned it to you, now you have a PDF with all those documents in it. And so you can then take it, like I've been doing all along, is I would pull it into .loop because I didn't like using .loop, but the company wanted it in .loop, so that's where I pulled it. You can also take that in the same fashion and pull it into command. So, but right now what I'm going to show you is how to look at command. Does everyone know how to enter an opportunity?
I do.
I'm assuming by now most people know how to do an opportunity. Again, if we don't, then I can instruct you with no problem. So I had one here that I made up to save time. I have to find it. That may not save time. When you get old, you can't remember where you put stuff.
Dan, why is it you set up the opportunity?
I'm sorry?
Why is it you set up the opportunity? So when you have a lead, you go in there?
Right, and you can set it up either from the contact or you can set it up for the opportunity, and you create the opportunity. So if you got a contract, you got a person, then you use that person and you set up this contract. And as soon as I find it, I'll show you what, because I made one up so we wouldn't have to. There it is, Dan Callaway, the buyer. So this is what you will see once you set one up, and everything with the little pencil is editable. So right now, when I set up my opportunity, I just said that it's a purchase and I'm the buyer, and I just put down what phase it's in, what stage it's in, the contract date and the closing date, and the commission, because I knew what that is. And now we know that it's going to be a conventional loan. So I can save that now. This thing is just absolutely annoying. I can save that now. And again, you can go through, because I put this in by hand, you can go through and you can pick your location. I don't remember where that one was, and put in all the information and save it. So only the things that have the red dot are required. You see the little red star? That's the only thing that's really required. So I can say 10, come on.
Is that coffee brewing? I hear percolating.
No, not mine. Okay, so I just put in the information so I can save it. All right, and so now, and I put a note in here so in case it inadvertently goes over to Crystal, she won't have a heart attack. That this is a, yeah. So now, once I've set up this opportunity, I can go into buyer profile, and there's not really anything that you can do here. Documents, I'm not going to go through today. That's for a whole class, all in that section. But what we want to do is we want to be able to get paid for this. We got a ratified contract that's going to close, so we need to get paid. So the first thing in command that you have to do once you set up the detail, once you set up your opportunity, whether it's a listing or a buy, you go into offers and you got to create an offer. Okay, so you add a new offer. You can call this whatever you want. I'm going to leave it as initial offer. Okay, and again, what you need to fill in is the address. So you really need to go and select it from this KWLS. So I'm gonna pick this one because I already used that one. All right, I'm gonna look at all listings. I'll just pick one out of here. This one. All right, so it knows it's in there, right?
2 million.
I'm sorry?
Oh, there was a $2 million one there. But
Oh,
that's okay.
yeah, I'll get that one next round. So once I fill this in, and it's really, really important that you use this select from KWLS. So if you—
That's only for KW listings, or that's
now this is all listings.
you can find all listings in KWLS. Okay.
Yeah, because they're reading it. They're supposedly reading it from the MLS.
Okay.
So go to parties next.
That's just Lynchburg, right?
Actually, this one's supposed to read all of ours, no matter where you are.
Dan, I have a question.
Really?
What if the listing's not in the MLS?
Just fill in the address.
Okay.
Okay, go to parties next. And then here's the only thing you really have to fill in here is, well, I'm just going to say it was pre-approved because I'm such a wealthy guy. Okay, so only thing you really have to fill in here is just the names. Nothing else. Oh, an email. Nothing else has got a star. So you can fill it in and be just as good as you want to be, or just, I'm going to say that Miss Anna sold it. So you like that, Anna?
What happened? I can't, it keeps going in and out.
Oh, I don't know. I just made you sell one. So, so that's really all you need to put in here is, and then terms. So this is kind of important. So it's a finance job and it was $329,000, right? And it was 3% interest. And we're not doing an optional fee. See, that keeps saying internet connection unstable. We're not doing an option fee. There's no termination option. So the seller is not contributing anything on this one. We're not gonna, well, this is a straight up deal. But you could put it in there if the seller was given $5,000 towards down payment or closing costs, you could put that right here. All right, so now you don't need to fill in anything in pros and cons. This is just for your review. That's in case you have, if you're the listing agent and you have multiple offers, you can now review these offers right here. And it'll come up with a really nice list for you to see the pros and the cons about each one of them. It's pretty slick. Okay, now all we have to do is accept this. We like this. This is the commission. There's nothing else. We're going to accept this. Once it's been accepted, you see now commissions is available. Before commissions wasn't available. So this is an important step right here. Once that's done, you can now actually do your green sheet, which is now electronically done. So most everything, and the thing I like about it is it's already pre-calculating everything about it. And it's also telling you, if you look right here, it's also telling you how close you are to capping, which is really nice. So if you want to contribute to this, you could do it. If you want to add an item, you can do it. And I'm not going to go into add an item because that needs to be a separate discussion. But you can add another agent and split it right here. You can add a different agent as like a referral. But I'm not going to complicate it right now. Let's just learn how to do a plain and simple one first.
Dan, may I just ask one question?
Sure.
When we're in the offer part, that is only for our information, right?
Correct.
The sellers and the buyers never see any of that, right?
No,
Okay.
just for you. And it's
Thank you.
nice because you can actually review everything.
Nice.
And so now everything is in here that is required to submit for your commission. So I'm going to put this is a test. Do not process. Just in case it slips and gets in there. I don't want to give Crystal a heart attack.
I mean, they can.
Well, yeah, they could process it for me, but then I'd have to give it back to them. Very unforgiving. Okay, so now all you do is hit submit and you're done. So now your green sheet is all done. And remember, when you get a ratified contract that's all ratified, this is when you should do this, not right before it closes or as it closes. That's not the time to do it. The time to do it is when you get the contract ratified. That's the time to put it in.
Dan, is this working now? Is this how we're supposed to submit now?
Correct.
Okay.
Thank you. I was really asking about this. I'm so glad you touched on this today.
So one more time, do you upload the document, the purchase agreement into
at this time until we are confident that everybody can do it, you continue to upload your documents into .loop until we get rid of it at this time. But I will hold another class next week on how to upload documents.
Onto this one?
Into Command, correct.
Okay.
So you would take it right out of Instanet or right out of the Roanoke documents. You make a PDF just like you do for .loop right now, and you would import it into the room. But I didn't want to confuse anybody and go into anything else because this one's a little bit more detail on documents, and I didn't really want to get anybody too confused more than you already could be.
Thank you for that.
So it's a lot of data for one, at one time, and I realize that, but I'm offering myself, if anybody needs it, you can make an appointment with me on KW Coaching with Dan. And this is the one that the coaching agents use, but for right now, because of this crisis, we can't teach it in the classroom. So I'm willing to give my time and try to help if anybody doesn't know how to do it.
Thank you, Dan. That's so generous.
Oh, well, I'm just sitting on my butt. I'm going crazy.
We can all use all the classes you've got on Command.
Yes, for sure.
Yeah, and I highly advise you, if you're in the Lynchburg area, to learn to work on this Instanet, and practice with it. You can pick an object out of the new listings and just click one and just try it. And you can't hurt anything. So put your templates in there and try it and make it customized to your feelings. And And then you're going to have a lot less trouble when it comes to compliance. So in either case, I'll be happy to help in either case, in Command or Instanet. And for those of you that have Teams, I can show you how to connect up your Teams so that you can review the documents, so the Rainmaker can actually review the documents for the agents. If the agent says, I got a problem with this, can you look at it? That will allow you to go in there and look at that document.
Fantastic.
So,
Hey, Dan,
Yeah.
did you find out about the emailing of flyers?
I got one back that said that at this time they couldn't do it like a single mailing unless you did it as an attachment, and I don't like that. So
We cannot email out of Command
As
any
a-
flyers like I wanted to do with the price reduction.
the only way you can do it is to create a flyer in Design, and then you can use it. So they recommended that we take the flyer that you have and pull it into Design, into Flyers, and it will pull in a PDF. And then you can mail it to all contacts. But to just
As an attachment.
Yeah, to attach an external one, it will not allow it at this point. But it would work.
Okay, so a flyer has to be designed up from scratch on Designs in order to do that.
No, you can actually create your PDF. Guys, I'm going to show her this real quick. You can actually, if I can get into Design, you can actually go into Designs and get a blank design and actually take a PDF and pull in, import the PDF, and it'll come out as a full PDF inside your design. I'm not going to go through it because it would take a little time to go through that.
So I can import in the flyer and then, yeah. Do you want to contact me maybe later today on it?
Sure. I got your number. I was going to call you, but I've been hit with 1,000 phone calls. So, but you can do it that way.
Well, tomorrow's fine too.
Okay. Either day, I'll get in touch with you.
Thank you so much, Dan. This has been so helpful.
Sounds good.
Thank you, Dan.
Well, I hope y'all got something.
You should have a class every day, Dan, so we can see your beautiful face.
Yeah.
All right. You guys stay safe and don't get sick on us.
Okay.
Thanks,
Yeah.
Dan.
Bye.
Bye, guys.
Thanks.
Thanks.
Bye. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Good to see you all.
You too.
Bye-bye.
Bye, BJ.
Bye.
Guys, stay safe.
Bye.
You too, Jay.
Bye.
All of you.
See you, Trey. Hey, see you
BJ.
there. You go, girl. Bye, Lenora. Anybody else?
Y'all
left?
take care.
All right. Bye, Dan.
Bye-bye.
Okay.